Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning into the In When You're Out podcast. As always, I'm your host, John, and today I'm with a good friend of mine. Goes by Catmus online. How are you doing today, Catmus?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, mate.
Oh, I'm glad to have you on. I think we're going to have quite the interesting conversation today. You excited for that?
Yeah, hopefully.
So, if you guys can tell already that he's one of my friends from Australia, would you like to say your real name or are you going by Catmus today?
I'll prefer to go by Catmus, mate.
Totally fine. So Catmus has been somebody who I actually met through the Old Knight, who's a YouTuber who streams every Saturday, but he does a lot of Oblivion content, a lot of Elder Scrolls content, and we kind of bonded over that. And we've been talking for a couple months. It seems like probably over a year, honestly, if you think so. How long you think?
It'd be close to a year. I think I joined Old Knight's channel in about December last year. So, yeah, it would have been since then, essentially. So, almost 12 months.
Yeah, wow. It seems like wow. You know what? It doesn't seem like that long, but I could agree that, when you meet good friends, when you meet new people, it's like, man, I feel like we've known each other forever. Right? Something like that.
Yeah, well, that's what that community is all about. It's like we could all have fun and just
Yeah.
say what we say. No one gets offended. It's fantastic.
It's a pretty good atmosphere. I like his Discord chats. It's a pretty good server. But the reason I have you on today is that I've always been looking forward to having somebody from another country give their perspective about what they think the U.S. is like, especially with how things are going more recently. So I'm going to ask you some questions about that today. You ready for that?
Yep.
Excellent. So, very first question is just general thoughts on the U.S. from an outside perspective. What the rest of the world thinks of the U.S. at the current moment. What do you think about that?
At the current moment, it's interesting because if I go back historically,
Hmm.
I've always looked at America as, a very powerful nation. We're Australians. We've always supposedly had close ties with them.
Yes.
And just interestingly, in the last few years, it's like it's almost like America's trying to mandate what we think and do with
Hmm.
America, in terms of things like tariffs and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, do you think the rest of the world has a positive perception of the U.S., or do you think it's more negative these days?
I would love to say positive. Sorry about the dog barking,
Oh,
but
you're fine.
sadly, I think the world's perception of America has gone down a little bit. Because it's they're always been a superpower. They always will be. But it's like you can't tell us what we have to do. Like, I'm sorry, but we're different nations. We will work with you. We will help you. You can help us, but you can't always tell us what we have to do and what we have to think. And I think
Right.
that's just maybe perception is, unfortunately. And I'm talking about America as a nation in its statehood, not the people themselves. So I'm going to get that clear right now.
Sure. Yeah. So we as Americans here, we definitely are an imposing people. We like to kind of push the rest of the world around. I think that's happened for a long time, to be honest with you, probably since the inception of the country. But for the most part, I do agree that as it stands in today's kind of modern world, the United States is kind of a bully. We are we are basically the I don't want to say like the only superpower on the planet. Obviously, we're not. There's very powerful countries as well. But the way that we operate, especially with our military, nobody really tells us what to do. So we have this kind of way about ourselves, which is a little bit of a detriment to how we treat other countries, especially when it comes to foreign policy. The biggest issue that I see is that a fear that I had, and this will kind of work into our next question here, if we have the wrong person as our leader, or we have the wrong leaders, which I kind of personally believe we do now with a lot of our leaders, we could do a lot of terrible things and get away with it pretty easily. And that's kind of the problem, is that when you are the epidome of power on the world scale, nobody can really push back on you without facing severe consequences. And so for my next question from you, which it should be exciting to hear what you have to say. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump?
Oh Okay, that's going to be interesting.
Yes.
Look, I personally would not want to meet him.
Sure.
I'm not convinced he's a very nice person, and I know he's a politician, and as the old saying goes, politicians and used car salesmen, well, you wouldn't trust them. But
Yeah.
I think that with his background, I don't think he should be in, as you said before, with that ultimate, like that position of ultimate power. I
Right.
don't think, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, but mentally, I don't think he would be up for the challenges. When you look at some of the great leaders America's had,
Mm-hmm.
through such huge situations, like, I'm going to stuff myself up here, but I know, like you look back at the world wars and things like that,
Right.
and, going all the way back to your War of Independence and things like that, like, I think your leaders had a little bit more, I'm trying to think of the word, but a little bit more respect from the majority.
Integrity.
I just don't. Integrity's, yeah,
Yeah.
I just look. Well, there's probably going to be a question later on, but it's just the whole thing about politics these days, and the way I perceive it. It's worldwide, I suppose. It's not just America, but it's the rich getting richer and using it as a platform to get what they want.
Right.
Not about helping the people, which I think a politician should be there to actually help the people. And I don't think Donald Trump really has that agenda in mind. He's got something he wants for himself. And I think, I could, I just find it strange that he was, with his background, the first time he was elected, like, oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
elected again, like, I didn't think that would have actually been legal in any country. But anyway, it happened.
Yeah.
I just thought with his wouldn't have been allowed. That's what I don't personally like him. I don't want to meet him.
Sure.
And that's all I would say about him. I'm sorry.
No, that's pretty good actually. That does tie into a lot of the things that I have to say about him as well. One, yeah, he's definitely for himself. He's not for the people. He's not for the Constitution even. He's really just for himself and for his rich friends as well. I think just earlier this week he had one of the Saudi crown princes come and speak in the White House, and that was pretty controversial considering that they were, from my understanding, they helped launder money for I think it was Al Qaeda, which perpetrated 9/11. So a lot.
Sorry.
No, you.
So I thought, because the only thing I saw about that was him jumping on Air Force One. I thought he'd flown over there because I know there's talk about him selling them F-35s.
Yes, and that was their idea. Which that happened. It was 25 years ago. About 25 years ago, 24 years ago, that 9/11 happened. But still, there was a lot of mixed messaging, and a lot of people were kind of upset about that. It was pretty controversial, and you can tell that it was really just to either further his own ambitions with that authority in Saudi Arabia, or because he was getting something out of it, whether it was money from certain sponsors or from donors, or something was just on his, basically making him money in some facet. And that's what a lot of, yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm not going to say the name of these YouTubers, but I follow a few YouTubers who do talk a lot about, because I'm interested in military, they talk about American military and American intelligence.
Sure.
And in one of these latest posts, in a lot of the comments, because it was talking about the F-35 sale, a lot of the comments were saying, well, a lot of the terrorists who did the 9/11 were put into safe houses in America through Saudi, I don't know if this is true, but through Saudi embassy employees. And that's just like, come on,
yeah.
I know you've got to get over things, you've got to move forward, but that's crazy. Because when you brought up 9/11, I remember that. I remember we were at school, like in a tertiary college, a TAFE college, and that
Sure.
was just, we spent the whole day just shocked because, I was with a very multicultural school. We had kids from Pakistan, we had kids from Indonesia who were Muslim, and they were terrified. It was just absolutely, sorry, I shouldn't have tears, but that was one of the most disgusting things that I've ever lived through. Like, it was horrible. That was just,
Well,
very appalling. And I remember that to this day. Like, it was just horrible. Yeah. And I'm not even American.
Yeah, well, that just shows your compassion, Catmus, and I can appreciate that much. So for me, I was not really old enough to remember it. I was very young. I was about 1.5 years old. I was almost 2.
you were young. You're a 99 boy.
Yeah, I was born. Yeah, I was born in 1999. That is true. And
I'm 1978, so I've been around for a while.
My parents are a little bit. They're like a year or 2 older than you. So, my parents they tell me a little bit about how that was, and they said well we're from New York as well. We live in New York, so mind you, this happened like 3 hours from where we lived. And one of the teachers actually I had in middle school was supposed to be called down because he was on he was in the Marines. He was a cook in the Marines. And then he was in some type of like disaster response group or some reserves or something like that. And he actually got called down, but he didn't go for whatever reason. And from my understanding is that there were people that passed away that were in his division. So he could have been in harm's way as well. And again, this is one of my father's friends. He's a teacher because, my dad's also a teacher. I think I've said this a couple times on the show.
Yeah.
So that for me, I didn't personally, I don't have any memory of that, but I grew up in a very interesting world post 9/11. That
yeah, and I know we're getting off on a tangent.
No, it's fine.
But if there's anyone who is listening to this and just wanted to see the sheer heroism and gut wrenching things that happened, I can never remember, but there was a French film crew doing a documentary on a New York police station, and the commander there, his surname was Pfeiffer,
Sure.
and just watching the Pfeiffer brothers do what they did, and the older brother was the captain, and the younger brother I think was you call it lieutenant.
Yeah, you call it lieutenant.
But,
yeah.
But he went up one of the towers, and the younger brother never came out, and it's just gut wrenching when you watch these first responders who that's the thing to me. Like, that is America. When I look at 9/11, that is America. That's the true people who give everything and all to try and help their comrades, their fellow people, and make the country a better place. Not your billionaire politician who just wants to make a new freaking golf course and look at himself as in, look how powerful I am. And the other thing is, like, people had a big go at George W. Bush. You've just got to see his face when he's at that school that morning that he gets notified. It was shock. It was terror. But my God, did he step up? And I know a lot of people then thought, well, the Afghanistan thing was wrong, and I'm not going to get into that. But my God, he made decisions, and he made powerful decisions. And America really, I thought they came together and really helped each other. Whereas now, God, who's going to get behind Trump to do that? Sorry.
No, that's a very good point, actually. No, that's totally fine. That's what I got you on here for today. That was actually pretty powerful, man. I do appreciate you saying a lot of that stuff too. And I think it does paint the picture of our modern day political atmosphere, that if a tragedy like that happened, one, maybe Donald Trump wouldn't be able to step up to the plate like other presidents have in the past. And two, a lot of people probably wouldn't rally behind the president because of who he is. And I think there's a giant sentiment there to say there's something wrong with the incumbent or with his style of leadership. If something were to happen, people would probably still not look to him for guidance. And I think that's
I don't think they would, but I think they'd look to each other for guidance. I think the Americans would still band together and do what they thought was right.
Right.
As a people, they're very strong.
And I can agree with that. Obviously, you know, I'm an American. I've been my entire life. Hey, I was born here. My parents were, and their parents were, and their parents were. So, the thing for me is growing up in post 9/11 America, I didn't really know what it was. You know, I was a little too young to have any memories of it. But the world was shaped so much differently after that, especially with the war in Afghanistan and then later in Iraq. I was based.
Everything. Sorry, but
you're good.
Everything changed. Even in Australia, like we're so easygoing and all of that sort of thing. But security guards just increased on embassies and everything like that. It's now become, like, when you think about it, it's like it did change the world.
Yeah.
Like, we are much more observant, more aware. There are more people watching in power or authority or enforcement to make sure that things like this don't happen again. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, you think about the CIA and the FBI, God, they must have had to have gone through that many massive changes after that.
Oh,
they could try and get not happen again.
Yeah.
That was just, as I said, that was a shock.
Well,
but we still get crap happening like that again. Like, we had the Boston Marathon, we've had all sorts of horrible things still happen.
That is true.
Yeah, we don't live in utopia, unfortunately. It's the real world. There's always scum who want to hurt people, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. I've traveled to other countries, and so I actually, when I was 18, I went to 4 different countries in 1 year on a trip, and then a later family trip, or a school trip, and then family trip. And when I came back to the U.S., we went through like their equivalent of TSA, which is basically just a group that I'm not sure if you're really familiar, but in the United States, when you go on a plane, you go through TSA. I'm not sure exactly what it stands for. Something travel, something agency. I don't know. But basically, you have to take off your shoes. You have to take off your belts. You have to go through these scanners and whatnot. When we traveled from the U.S. to the United Kingdom, first we went to Ireland. We went through TSA. But when we came back, their version of like security at airports were so much more lax. They were very relaxed. We got asked, they said, do I have your consent to search you? And I was like, yeah, of course. So, they patted my arms, patted my legs, said, okay, thank you very much. And I was like, in the US, there is no consent for searching you. It's you're getting on this plane. Okay, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do whatever I want. Or like my aunt, actually, she got randomly checked. She got stopped, taken to a separate room, and they had to go through her pants and all of her clothes and whatnot, and like reach underneath stuff. Not to imply too much, but that is just something we've gotten used to. And coming back to the United States from another country was very eye-opening, I'll say, because they don't have the same procedures for obvious reasons.
See, personally, look, if it's for the security of a nation to make everyone safe, I don't look at that as anything bad being an Aussie. Like, I know this might come across as weird, but sometimes I think Americans push the agenda about freedom of speech and right to bear arms and all of the other things, like you have to have a search warrant to do this, without realising that sometimes it's for the greater good. But I know that's another argument for another day. But from my point of view, if it helps someone, if I have to be strip searched because for some reason I answered a question wrong or I looked a bit sus, that's just me. But I can understand your point of view. And I'm Australian. Like, Australians, we don't give a shit. It's just that's what we got to do. We got to do it. Like, toughen up, get over it. For us, that's just my mindset anyway.
No, that's totally fine, and honestly, it's pretty healthy as well, because there are times where I wish more people in the U.S. could just be like, all right, like especially for COVID, I'll say, like wearing a mask. We were probably one of the only countries that were like, we had anti-mask, what are they called, anti-maskers or whatever they called themselves, and that was like.
Sorry, out of Walmart videos I've seen and Costco and things like that. My God, it's just. But we had we had Australians do that too.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, get over it. It's not
We
that hard.
exactly. And
Anyway, there's always someone who wants to go, no, I'm not doing that.
yeah, but we had
And
like
that,
hundreds, if not millions, of people like that. Like
that's,
way too many people were anti-maskers, and it was like, can you just
I liked,
let's,
sorry, but I liked how a
yeah,
lot of the anti-maskers or anti-maskers, I'd say in Australia,
yeah,
they push the agenda that, you're violating my freedom of speech. It's like, why?
yeah.
By wearing a mask, that's stopping your freedom of speech.
Oh gosh, people said, yeah, they have a constitutional right to not wear a mask, and it's like, what? Where in the Constitution does it say you have control over what, maybe freedom of expression, freedom of speech, but for something like that, it's helping you. It's helping you. If it's like, I'm not going to wear a mask because I don't think they work. Well, first of all, that's just dumb. That's just so idiotic because we've been wearing masks for a very long time. We have studies for hundreds of years. We've had studies compounded upon studies to show you that wearing something over your nose and mouth is going to be helpful at preventing disease because a lot of airborne diseases travel into your nose and mouth. It's like, or if you're spreading the disease. So it was sorry if I'm getting all ramped up about this, but it was just we had movements, we had actual like political movements to get people to not wear masks, and it was like, you're only hurting yourself and your own family. Like, if you go to work, you don't wear a mask, somebody there is contaminated with COVID, you come home, you're bringing that with you because you decided not to wear an effective piece of clothing that is proven to work against germs. You are protesting a germ. Like, that to me, that was just so absolutely bizarre and crazy. And I'm sure there was other parts of the world that had the same problem, but we had like actual political movements, especially with Donald Trump and like his rallies and what he promoted, that the masks didn't work.
God, that was horrible. Yeah, that was just wrong. And the thing is, if you'd then shown them a video of this is why surgeons wear masks, show them surgeons helping people wearing masks. Some of these surgeons at some of your best hospitals, which some of your hospitals are the best in the world, doing surgery for 8 hours straight, wearing masks so they don't have any issues with infection because they want the best outcome for the patient, they'd probably still turn around and say, well, I'm not going to do it. That doesn't mean it.
I work
like, for crying out loud.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Look, no matter, and I know you said you had a massive movement there, but as I said, it's just because you're a massive country. You've got to, you're 350 million plus.
Yeah.
Whereas, we had to say, we didn't have the movement in Australia, but you still got the idiots, and we're 25 million now.
That's a lot.
So it's just a scale, but it's just, look, I'm going to be horrible. This might offend people, but I just call them the unwashed masses. They're just, they're like the peons, the peasants who just take whatever they see and believe it. They don't actually think, what does this actually mean to me? Is this real? There's no problem solving. Well, that's actually a problem I find with a lot of the modern younger generation now is the problem solving skills have just gone.
Yes, and that was, I would say honestly,
I believe gone because he wears socks, so therefore I have to do it.
Yeah, right. I would say it's probably from COVID. A lot of people in school, they lost like good education, or they didn't have a good enough education during those, like from 2020 to 2024, 25, maybe even like this year still. There are people, especially you're a teacher, my father's a teacher, I'm in the atmosphere of teachers often, and they understand that COVID was like a big setback for a lot of schools. And I agree. Yeah, people my age or in my age range that don't have good problem-solving skills, it's probably because of things with COVID, and it's probably because they didn't get a good enough education, or maybe we're just on a path of education is just declining and people weren't getting the sufficient education that they needed, or things just weren't reaching through to them, or, whatever it is exactly.
Look, I'm not going to go on an education rant, but the one thing that COVID taught me as a teacher was because they didn't have the interaction with their peers, they didn't have this day-to-day someone said something bad to me, what do I do? What do I think? It was all online. It was all isolated. So for that generation, I think it was very then difficult to get back into school, to then interact with their peers, face to face. Like I think it was just the isolation that really, cabin fever essentially. It was almost like cabin fever in education.
So, Catmus, I have another question for you. This kind of ties into some of the things we're talking about already. What is some advice that you could give to foreigners coming to the United States if they should come to the United States at all?
Look, the only advice I would give that I would do for myself is just go with an open page. Like, just go and visit it and just don't go with any preconceptions. Like, don't go thinking, I don't like this political thing or they've got guns or that. Just go and see the people. Yeah. Because I think if I visited, because I've never visited another country, sadly. I'm terrified of flying.
But okay.
I would want to meet the people. And, like, the great thing about things like YouTube and that is I can see real people in other countries interacting with real people. And you go, wow, they're no different from us, really. Yeah. They've got their wants. They've got their needs. They're nice. They're not going to be harmful. I'm not going to go down to some of the horrible suburbs which everyone talks about and walk around in the midnight. Sure, yeah. I'm just going to go there, experience the country for what it is. And I think look, seriously, I would love to visit America. I was talking about with my wife. She was going New Orleans, and I was sitting there going, not the bloody Mardi Gras. And she said, no, just the place, just the people, just the culture, right? Just the food. And I look at America, and it is so diverse when you think about that. Like, my God, you could, like Alaska, like, my God, it would be fantastic to visit Alaska. That'd be pretty cool. And like that, like Florida, Miami, I know it's not New York. Like, me as an Australian going to New York, I'd be in awe. The culture shock would be amazing. I think we're more similar than you think, too, though. I watch a lot of I watch a lot of food channels, and I just look at the New York food, the street food scene, and I just think, wow! Like, I was watching one the other day about Puerto Rican food. Oh yeah, in New York, places like that, and I just thought, like, I would actually go with my stomach, but I just think American people would be wonderful to meet because they're just like any other person. Forget your politics. Yeah. Forget your state. Forget all that. Just go and visit the country and explore the sites and the people. Because, look, at the end of the day, it's the people who make the country, not the politicians. Yes, I say politicians are the smallest percentage. Like, if I came to America, I just wouldn't care about Trump, any of that garbage. I just want to go and see these beautiful places like Portland, Oregon, your country has got some absolutely fantastic things that people would see. That's true, yeah. But I wouldn't go to Mount Rushmore. I'm not interested in the Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls. Yeah, I know they're all touristy spots and they're beautiful, but I just want to see the real people. Yeah, like Mid-Ohio, somewhere like that. I don't care. Go to a diner in the middle of nowhere. There you go. Like, what I usually say, whenever I go to new countries, I like going to like the places that are not tourist traps or touristy. When I went to Ireland, we went to the countryside at one point, and it was one of the best experiences because we got to see real people in their real places, not like, in a city center or in some type of tourist like a festival or something going on. It was just the countryside. I had the worst pizza I've ever had in my life. But it was so interesting just to be able to be out there. And I agree with you. The country is its people. It's not its government. I say that all the time. I agree with that. But why would you go to Portland to get a pizza? Oh, seriously? We knew it wasn't going to be good, but we still wanted to try it out. We didn't. I will say this. A lot of the food we had in the United Kingdom and Ireland was not the best. I did have some Irish stew when we first landed down in Dublin, and that was pretty good. Can't really go wrong with a stew. But a lot of the food we had was not very good. It was not very good at all. I'd say the flip side to that is if I went to Ireland, it's like this food's bloody great. Like,
Yeah.
because being like we are very heavily cultured by the British Isles.
Yeah.
So, to us it'd be fine. But I tell you what, if I could go to New York, and I know this is such a stereotype, and I wish I had the name of the place, but there's a place in New York which sells like one of the original New York pizzas.
Oh, there's a million pizza places, yeah.
I know, but I look at the slices and it's like, that's a whole pizza in Australia. They are absolutely massive.
Oh, yeah.
But just, I'd love that. Like, I just love to try foods and luckily Australia is very multicultural now. So Indian, Vietnamese, Chinese, any food you want is just great. But unfortunately, where I live, we can't get it because we don't have it. But when I used to live in the city, like, my God, you could get whatever you wanted, and it was all great. Like,
and I appreciate that about the United States as well, is that we have such a multicultural atmosphere in basically everywhere. Where I live in Binghamton, we have all over the place. We have Chinese places, and we have a Vietnamese place, or let's see, a Thai place as well. We have a million, and that's just like, there's not like a Chinese place. There's like 10 Chinese places. There's like 12 Italian restaurants. There's like 10 a Mexican cuisine restaurants and things like that. And it's all authentic and good, cooked by the people that are like basically in a family. So that's one of the things I appreciate about the United States, is that we have such a high diversity in our culture.
Yeah, and hopefully until ice doesn't wreck it. But
that's also true.
I won't go there, but when you just mentioned Mexican food, and it's like, try real Mexican food. And the funny thing is, I'm sure that United States people would agree with this. You would have some real Mexican food, because the amount of Mexican people who live in your country,
it's a lot,
and work so bloody hard to change their lives and help the country that they're in. God, it'd be fantastic until ice gets rid of them all. But anyway.
Yeah, well, we could talk about that a little bit as well. I don't have that on my question sheet here, but I kind of want to ask you that about that now. What do you think about the ICE deportations?
Apart from basically probably breaching every United Nations humanitarian rights, they are just horrible. I'm not going to know the name of the country or the person, but one person who was actually a citizen was deported to, was it Nicaragua or
El Salvador?
El Salvador, to this horrible place, yet they're American because they couldn't produce something, or they had an agenda to get rid of this person. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. Like, I look at, I don't even know what ICE stands for, but
International Customs Enforcement.
Sorry, what was that?
It's International Customs Enforcement.
Yeah, well, as soon as you put enforcement on the end of an acronym, that's pretty. I just look at it as if an agenda is happening, and it's like a political purge almost. It's a purge.
It's definitely a purge of people. It's kind of scary.
And I think, and the people who support it don't understand, even if these people are actual illegal aliens, what they actually do for the country. Like, I look at things like that and I think, well, how about you look at what they've done and you go, well, maybe they do need retrospective citizenship. And I'm not talking about drug runners and all that. I'm talking about people who have fled a horrible situation in their country, jumped into a country or a state and worked their ass off to do the best they can for their family and their community, and they're getting deported. It's mad.
No, it's absolutely crazy. It's probably illegal. I think in the future, some Supreme Court case is going to rule that the deportations were illegal, because, mind you, a lot of the people that are here are either here on visas or they're here because they have family that was born here. And for instance, and this is something I could speak from personal experience, I had somebody on my podcast about a year ago, and I think earlier this year as well, who was an illegal immigrant from Mexico. They lived in California, and they didn't know because they were smuggled across the border, technically by their family, when they were 4 years old. They went to school, they got a student visa, and, they're basically, I think they got a work visa as well, and they're trying to get their citizenships to stay here. The problem is that a lot of these people are, maybe not a lot of these people, but a good enough of these people are getting arrested at the courthouses. So they're going to talk to a judge about their citizenship, or they're going through the process of becoming a legal entity, or a legal, not entity, just a person, just a legal resident. And they're getting arrested by ICE while they're going through the process of becoming a legal citizen. So that's the problem. It's not about, well, we want these people to be legal. It's just about prosecuting people that are not white. And that's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, so they're getting ambushed when they're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Gee.
Or they'll have their visas canceled. So they, yeah.
I'm sorry, but that has a massive parallel with a certain nation.
You can say
World War II
and
in
that's
Europe, but I'm not going to say the country or the name of the political party because that will probably get you in trouble. But
no, it's totally fine. I say it all the time, to be honest, because the parallels to draw between Nazi Germany in 1930 and the Holocaust and deportations of the Jewish population to other countries into concentration camps. It is very, very, very similar to what's going on with the ICE deportations now. It is incredibly similar.
It is horrible, but here's me on my soapbox in Australia saying,
sure,
yeah, we're the best, but we haven't been the best with our refugees. Like in the 90s, before you were born, we had horrible things. It's like I just find political parties seem to be xenophobic.
Yeah,
I don't understand that multiculturalism. Like seriously, if I look at the world as it is, we're all the one species. Yeah, we've all got certain variations of how much Neanderthal and that we've got in us. Who cares?
Yeah.
We're one species. We're a global nation. And I know we can never be a global nation because the political parties want their piece of the pie, which is basically, you're this citizen, so we can tax you this amount to make money. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we have this world where we're a worldwide society and we live in the world? We've got a worldwide parliament which is represented by everyone. We do everything for we think about everyone's state, we help each other, and we all pay taxes to help the greater good of our whole existence. But that's just me in fantasy land, I'm sorry.
I have a proposition. It is.
I've gotten. That sounds weird, but it's a dream I've got because I'm a big sci-fi and science fiction fan. So, it's like it'd be lovely if we could get to the stage where we recognise that we're a world, we're all together, we're all human. Let's work towards that.
I agree.
State doesn't. We're human. We're Earth. Let's work together and make a better place for all of us. Anyway.
So one of the things that I say, as you possibly have heard me talk about, is that I want to be the president someday. I want to run for president when I'm 37. We'll see how that goes. But one of the things I'd like to do, if I had the power to do so, would be to create something called the Federation of Earth Nations, which is basically the UN is not a very effective globalist leader. I would say globalism has become a completely different term now than what it really started as. But no, go ahead. It's basically exactly what you're talking about.
The UN was created maybe with good intentions, but it is absolutely useless in my opinion. But anyway, you keep going.
No, I agree. There's 5 permanent members on the UN. It's the United States, China, Russia, the United Kingdom, and I think Germany or France. I think it's France actually. And basically, they have.
Pretty sure.
What's that? Or sorry,
I'm pretty sure it's.
Yeah, there might be more. I think it's called. I think there's 7 of them actually. It might not be 5. My apologies if I'm not getting this entirely right. But basically, any of these countries can say that we are going to veto whatever this resolution is, and they have unanimous veto power. Meaning, if they don't vote on it, like some of the things that's happened with the United States and Israel have been the only two to one abstains from voting, one doesn't vote, and then the other one votes against. Like I think back I think it was maybe a year and a half ago now, there's some resolution to pass to say that there's a two-state solution for the Israel-Palestine conflict. And all the time, or whether it's something I think earlier in the early 2000s or maybe the late 90s, which was basically to make food a human right for all people on the planet. The U.S. vetoes that entire resolution goes away. So there are a few countries on the panel that have the complete authority to undermine the entirety of the vote that all the other countries put forth. So that's already kind of illustrating the ineffectualness of the United Nations as what they try to be, which is some type of like globalist power. So my proposition would be that we have something stronger than the United Nations that has actual authority, to stop things like forced famines or forced genocides, erasure of people, or you can step in times of disaster, say that like there's an earthquake happening in Afghanistan constantly, or wherever else, where you can actually have a team of countries come to the aid of a certain country if they need be. Which we have the power to do that now. It would just we need better leadership to be able to implement something like that. And that's something that I hope to do if I had the opportunity to at least pitch the idea. And we could go one step deeper just a little bit here. I also think that it would help out for a galactic scale or maybe an interstellar scale, because I don't believe that we're the only sentient creatures in the universe. So it would make sense to have a little bit of a more formalized Earth than just a bunch of nations kind of scrapping it with each other. That's just my 2 cents.
No, your 2 cents are worth a lot more than that, and I agree.
Thank you.
We've got the human condition and the fact that everyone wants everything for themselves. Mm-hmm. But when you talked about the galactic, that's an actually interesting point, because like you look at the universe and you think it doesn't make sense that there cannot be other sentient life out there. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
It does not make sense that there was this one tiny thing that happened with amino acids or whatever that caused life on Earth. Surely it's happened somewhere else. And to me, I sometimes think about, aliens looking at Australia. I mean, that's not Australia, sorry. The world just laughing because how torn apart we all are.
Right.
What's the point of war? What's the point of forced famine? Mm. What's the point of donating food aid? Yet it goes to the warlords who then create even worse things. Like, it's just, and the UN does that. That's the whole thing. The UN it's like the UN peacekeeping missions, blue hats.
Yeah.
They can't do anything 99.9% of the time. So why even send them? You may as well just give the warlords $1 billion and let them sort it out, and just sit back and go, all right, well, that's it. It's sorry, that came out weird, but it's
no, I know what you mean.
It's ineffectual. It's not doing anything. And yet, when you mention there's an earthquake in Afghanistan, look at every country in the world. Send freaking firefighters and stuff like that. Just go and help. The UN didn't tell them to. They just do it because there are people in the world who want to help each other. Right.
I'm a humanitarian at heart. I do try to work with humanitarian organizations, and I'll probably be getting a job within one in some time here to kind of further my career in humanitarianism. Because if I want to be known for anything, I want to be known for my efforts to help people. Besides what's that?
That we want to be, but as someone who is lovely and helped each other and wasn't an absolute arsehole. Like, that's the goal I've got in my life too.
Yeah.
Yet politics don't seem to see that. They just want to get rich and be powerful.
And I can agree with a lot of that as well. So I want to ask you another question, and this is kind of going in tandem with what we're saying so far. But what's something you hope to see changed by 2030? In the next 5 years, what's something that you hope that really does change or has the capacity to change in the next 5 years?
That's a hard one, actually. I'm not sure. I can go the good old typical ones, peace on earth, everyone helping each other, but that's not going to happen. But I'd actually like to see more countries involved in more dialogue with each other to ensure that the best is for everyone. Like, you were mentioning worldwide system of politics, like health. I think health is something that everyone, no matter where you're born in the world, healthcare should be provided for you.
I agree with that too. I mean, I'll be 26 here soon.
It's just the basic right. Like when you look at things like infant mortalities, things like that, and you have some very developed nations, cough, America, who have quite a high infant mortality rate due to the lack of things like universal health care.
That's true.
So if there was one thing I would say, it would be universal health care for everyone throughout the real world, regardless of race, creed, colour, religion, social status, or anything. We all deserve to have availability of doctors and nurses to help everyone equally. I think that would be it for me. Like that would change a lot of problems.
And I wish we could have something like that as well. I have said for a while that I think the United States, we have the capacity to afford universal health care. We just don't, because it makes too much money for people, and then those people spend money on politicians to make sure that they never change the law. And that's basically the self-feeding cycle, is that people need something, it's instead profited off of. Those people that make the profit make sure that those people keep needing it, and so on. So as long as, we call it in the United States, we call it big pharma, which is basically the term for all of the insurance agencies that are making a lot of money from people that are basically sick and dying. If we got universal health care, then they would actually, not be so sick and deathly. So that's a lot less money for them.
I thought you were talking about the medical insurance companies, because even if you've got medical insurance in America, it doesn't cover everything.
That's true.
Like, it's mad. Like, you don't even have, like, in Australia, we have a thing called the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme, where certain drugs are placed on that because a lot of people need it, so therefore it should be subsidised. Insulin in America, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're in America, like, take out a freaking loan. Like, gosh, it's just mad. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, and I know Australia doesn't have the best universal health care, but at least it's there if it's needed. And yes, you've got waiting lists and you've got all that, but at least eventually you will get something.
Yeah.
And, like, whereas I remember, one of Mike Moore's documentaries, I think it was called Sicko.
Sure.
And it was talking about people going from America to Cuba to get surgeries and things.
Yeah, because
they couldn't get it done. Like one bloke used a circular saw wrong. He was in the wood industry and he chopped off 3 fingers, and I think each finger was $40,000. And this was way back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like way back in the 90s. Like, crying out loud, why do you have to pay for that? Don't your taxes cover it? Like, aren't hospitals run by the government, or are they not in America? I don't know.
No, hospitals are private institutions, actually.
You have no public hospitals in America.
I mean, we have public hospitals, and I'm sure they get money from the government, but the doctors themselves and the nurses and everybody who else works there, a lot of the hospitals are private entities, and they make money. They're for profit, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to hear. Because, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's that they want more people to be sick and needy so that they can make more money off of them. And that's what happens. It's ass backwards, man. It is completely ass backwards.
And look, my brother is actually a doctor.
Oh, is he?
And he's for years pushed that we do need, like, so in Australia we looked at things like injecting rooms for people who had
drug.
Yeah,
drug.
Problems.
We have something similar here.
They get things administered by trained doctors and all that, and he pushed for them. He said, why can't they come to their local GP, like especially things like methadone?
Yeah.
And just get it done. make sure it's in a safe condition. But no, we can't do that because we can't have a drug centre near a school or something like that. But it's like, hey, it's a good education point.
Yeah.
Like these people have done some wrong things, but we're helping them because, hey, we're humanitarian. Like everyone makes a bad decision in their life. No one has lived their life without doing something wrong. Shit, I've made so many I couldn't count. But I would love the support of someone to go, well, you made the wrong decision, but here, let me help you.
Right.
Let me help.
I think that's...
I wonder
yeah.
what methadone costs in America.
Oh, I don't even know, but we do have methadone clinics as well. We have things like that where people can come in and kind of use their drugs in a safe environment. They're very controversial because a lot of people think, why are we even spending money to allow for this? But it's the difference between them using drugs safely or them using them unsafely and then contracting diseases from sharing needles or overdosing or whatever it be.
But these centers in America are private, aren't they?
And most medical facilities in the United States, I'm not sure entirely. I'll actually add something if I'm wrong here while I'm doing the editing.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure most hospitals or medical institutions are private.
But here's the thing: if a client comes in and they have to pay a certain amount of money in order to be able to get their methadone, where'd they get that money from?
Oh,
what did they do to secure that money?
Probably a multitude of things. Yeah, stole it,
exactly,
begged for it, sold their body for it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, we don't want that. That's the whole thing. Like that's why when you said that question, it's like we need help for everyone.
Mm.
But that's a big task.
It's a monumental task. No, that's fine.
I'm just a big softy at heart. I'm sorry.
No.
I know people make bad decisions, but we can't judge them by it. We want to help them. But there are some decisions people make where it's like, well, tough, but that more involves things like hurting others and things like that, which I don't like.
Not everything should be weighed by how much money it costs. If it's a good or a bad thing and then it costs money, that should be secondary. If you just say that something is bad because it costs somebody money, there's good things that cost money too. But it's very difficult to say, and that's why they're so controversial here. A lot of people think that they shouldn't exist and that, to go one step further, some people believe that addiction is not a mental illness or that it does not come from a certain mental illness or it's not a disease. I could personally say I do agree that using drugs is probably part of a lot of people's mental illnesses, or it's a mental handicap that they have a reliance on a drug. But that's kind of the first step for a lot of people, is that many people think it's just, well, if you're doing drugs, you just stop doing drugs and then your life gets better. Yeah, probably. But you don't always have the control of your life to be able to make decisions like that when you're addicted to certain substances.
Yeah, look, the people who say that, I think they should go and live in the shoes of that person for one day and see how they feel.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, seriously, these, like, I do wrong things. I don't do anything illicit, but I shudder to think, what these people have actually been through.
Right.
It's just, it's mental. And it is mental. I'm sorry. It is a mental health. In my mind, it is a mental health issue. Addiction is a mental problem. It's not, you just stop.
Right.
It's something which someone's, as I said before we started recording, but things like self-medicating, because they're in such a bad place, they're in such a horrible world that they just need to escape it. But the thing is, they get addicted to it because it completely, I'm pretty like, this is me not being a neurologist or anything, but I'm pretty sure things are rewired in your brain when things like that happen. Like
that is true.
Trauma in children is just horrible what it does to their brain. It's just, it just sets them back for basically the rest of their life, like things like that.
So we'll switch it up a little bit. I'll ask you a question that's maybe a little bit more lighthearted. I wanted to get at. What are some of the things you enjoy about Australia?
That's a difficult question because.
Oh, really?
I don't answer anyone else, but I just I just, and this is going to come across as such a bloody stereotype, but the fact that we're mostly friendly to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, I think the best thing I love about Australia is we respect each other's privacy a lot. You know,
Okay.
we're all mates, we're all this, we say good day, we do this, but your personal space is your personal space. Your private life is your private life. I don't try and intervene. I have respect for what you want to do, which doesn't have anything to do with anyone else, if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
It's like,
100%.
I can be myself, and if I'm being myself, I end up doing something that annoys someone, they'll turn around and tell me I'm a dickhead. You know, it's like you don't. Yeah, it's just we don't sugarcoat our words. I think it's just, you know, you can be yourself, you can have your private life, but you know, like, come on, mate, you know, pull your head in, that sort of sayings. Like, it's just we just who are we are. Like,
I
you know,
enjoy that.
and the other great thing I like about Australia is we actually show interest in things. Like, we don't just go, yeah, whatever, you know. Oh, I'm not interested in that. So, you know, we talk to each other, we do this, we do that, but as I said though, I'm in the country now. I've spent a lot of my time growing up in the suburb and very close to my major capital city, and it's not always like that there. Like, I remember I visited there a few years ago, and I was buying something from the supermarket. And the person looked at me after I bought everything, and I looked at them. They said nothing. And it's like, and I just turned around and I said, hello? You know, they didn't even say hello to me. It's like, get fucked. Like, come on.
So
where I live, I go for a walk, I say good day to everyone I walk past. You just say hello to everyone. Yeah, I don't know. But it's as I said, it's a tough question. It's really tough to say, well, this is what I love about Australia, because, you know, I don't know, I just love existing. I just love walking around. I do love our environment. I love our animals. I love most of the people. I used to love our cars, but our Australian car industry is gone.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Know. I don't love the prices of things. I don't love the way we seem to think that we have to look to every other country and take their cue. But, you know, I don't know. It's a weird question. I'm sorry.
No.
It's a weird question. I don't think about why Australia's great. I just love the fact that I'm living here. And if I was in France, I'd probably love why France was great. If I was in Britain, I'd love the same.
So you're an optimist. That's good, though.
Well, technically I'm actually a Senecaist.
A Senecaist?
So that's where the way I read in it is where I basically expect the worst to happen. And
cynicism, yeah.
Because due to my anxiety and depression, you know, it can get a bit much. So I just work into that and go, well, if it's a bad day, it's a bad day. But if it's not a bad day, what a fantastic day, sort of thing. But I am an optimist in some terms. I just think, and I think most Aussies are optimists. We just, you know, hey, she'll be right. Like, that's all, and that is the whole thing. Like, you know, when I think about one of the toughest days of my life, when we had been living with my grandfather for many years on his farm.
Yeah.
We'd eventually moved. We were living in a caravan in the shed for a couple of years. And we went to visit, and there was no answer in that. Mum and Dad went in, and sadly, my granddad was deceased.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And that was a long time ago, mate. Well before you were born. But
really?
Sitting in the shed. Oh yeah, as I said, I'm a bit older. Like, my dad had his 80th birthday this year, like, so.
Oh wow!
I just remember sitting and watching the undertakers take it out, and my dad just talking to me, and And it was just the one simple statement is life goes on.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to look at, well, these things happen badly. Things happen, but life does go on. And you can't go back. You can't change it. So you've got to embrace that change and move on.
Yeah.
And, you know, my wife found her mother about a month ago and things like that. So it's been going through my head for a bit lately. But,
Right.
you
And
know,
I remember you had shared some of that with me. So
I think seriously, if I look at Australia, and it is a stereotype, but it's just that whole, well, shit happens.
yeah.
Let's do what we need to do. Like as I said, I'm a fan of the military, and I look at Australians in World War One and Two, Vietnam, the Milan crisis, places like that, and it's just like they crack on. Things happen, but we've just got to do it. We've just got to push, and I think that's what I do love about Australia is we do have that attitude. It's like, well, we are optimistic, but we're optimistic because we're realists.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's
we know bad, but we just move on, keep those memories, and soldier on, and do the best we can for each other and our families. Right?
and that's
yeah.
yeah. I gotta agree
Right.
with that. That's probably the best way to be realistic, but also be happy, be optimistic at the same time. I can sometimes fall into those same type of ruts where I feel bad about things, or if I'm not looking at the best of the sides, when there's multiple options for something. And yeah, I can fall down the well of cynicism as well. But I think if the culture in Australia is that, kind of shit happens, that's fine. We have the same thing here, but I feel like a lot of people are, it's like shit happens so we should be upset about it versus shit happens so we can't let it get to us. There's two sides to that.
And the best thing I find about that is you can then say, oh, I'm having the worst day of my life, this is happening. But, your mates will go, oh, come on, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like we just get that funny, laconic and almost disrespectful, but it's not because we expect that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say this word, but, me and my mates, there's certain words you don't say about female anatomies, but we use that with each other.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say it because if my wife ever hears that, she doesn't want me to ever say that word, which is fair enough. But
okay, sure.
But it's just like we're just so like it is a stereotype, but we are laid back with things like that. It's like the worst thing happens to you in your life. It's like, well, come on, we have to move on.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's said. It's in a way where it's respectful, but it's also like a cheer you up, and you realise that you've got your mates, you've got your friends, you've got your family,
right?
You've got your dog, you've got your cat if you're alone. Like God, I was alone for 14 years with a cat.
Yeah.
Technically, it's just you've got something, and we just take it on board and go with it. It's weird. We are weird people, but anyway, don't go on playing. We don't get up. We don't go stupid. We just go, all right, move on. That's the end of the day.
I think
next day's going to be better.
That's very healthy.
I'm upset. It's like tomorrow's another day. Yeah. Tomorrow is another day. Unless it's not there, but anyway.
Yeah. But I think that's a very healthy approach because so many terrible things happen to us. If we got bogged down every time something tragic happened to us, then that might as well be the end of it. If our lives were so destroyed by what's happened that tomorrow doesn't come, then, who are we as people even? If, we have to get up and keep moving because that next day could be a better day. It could be, possibly a worse day, but you don't know until you try. And I think that's a great sentiment so far. So we've just about gotten... Oh, go ahead.
And one little addendum to that is that
sure.
I always feel sad people who don't have that. They don't have that support.
Mm-hmm.
It must be hell for them. It must be absolutely hell for them. But
yeah, and
anyway,
yeah.
So my advice to and I'm not into the whole American therapy crap. I hate counselling. I hate all that sort of stuff. But just people, you don't even have to talk to about your problems. Just talk to someone.
Yeah,
have a chat.
That's helpful.
And that's what I love about Australia. I walk down the street, I can sit there and have a chat to just random strangers. I used to go fishing with my little brother.
Yeah.
And he hated it because he'd come up and talk to you, and he'd always push him to me. And the amount of times I've been fishing, I spend an hour just talking to some random stranger.
Yeah.
And it's time. It's fantastic. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. It's like, oh, wow, someone actually values what I'm saying. And you're thinking, well, they're valuing what I'm saying to them too.
Yeah, and that's part of being a person. I think it's a good practice of humanity. I think it's a good way to be. I think being open to, the same way, like, I go on a walk just about every day in my neighborhood, and there's these people I see pretty routinely. I don't think we've really had too much of a conversation, but just seeing them and saying, hey, how you doing? Good, how are you? Oh, I'm good, yeah, good to see you again. How's the weather doing for you? Oh, it's been nice, Just those small things. Like, I would never be upset doing that. Like, if somebody, just a random person on the street came up and they were like, hey, how you doing? I'd be like, good, how are you? Even if I wasn't doing good, just because that's how fluid it becomes of like, oh, well, another person's around, we're going to be a little different. We're going to be helpful. We're going to be friendly because, what am I going to be angry towards that person? I'm going to be, resentful towards that person. They could be going through things that they don't want to share. I could be going through things I don't want to share. But then that little instance of just sharing the humanity that we have, I think it's very powerful. I think it could do a lot for people.
And that's the funny thing in Australia, we don't go, how you feeling? Or it's basically your general chat is, how you going? And the general answer is, yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Even if you're having the worst day in your life, it's like, yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Ours is always, like, I could say it verbatim. It's always like, hey, how you doing? Good. How are you? Good. Thank you. Like, that's exactly how it goes no matter what. You could be peeling your dead brother off the side of the road, and they'd be like, how you doing? No, I'm good. How are you? Because that's not how it is. You just don't, there's intimate moments that you share with people. And maybe if you're really not doing good, you can tell people. But if you met a stranger in the United States, and that's why I think there's a lot of similarities between the U.S. and Australia in our culture, I think we would get along pretty well. I mean, you and I certainly have. It's because
100%. Like, I don't see any difference between the typical Australian plebeian to the American plebeian.
Yeah.
Just common man. Like, we're all the same if you think, like, worldwide.
Yeah.
But I just think that tiny little interaction you just have with a complete stranger. How are you going? Yeah, not too bad. Yourself? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
It's just such an uplifting moment.
It is.
It's just that little contact that Homo sapiens need.
Yeah, that genuine human connection, just at the very least, just being nice. We don't have goon bags here. We don't have that one game, whatever you're talking about, with the wine in the box and the bag and the whole nine.
That's as far as I'm concerned, that's a meme. I've never done that.
Oh no! Oh, I thought you had.
No, you buy a box of bloody cask wine and you mix it with bloody lemonade or frickin' or orange juice. It's horrible shit. Like, come on. Those party things. That's all a social media thing. Like, if anyone did that, the whole backyard would be slaughtered. People would be vomiting everything. and you've got like basically an aluminium skin Mylar bag sitting on a hills hoist in Australia in the summer. Can you imagine the heat going into it? That'd be horrible.
Yeah, I can't imagine that'd be nice. No.
No, that's just well, I'm sure there are people who do it, but to me that's a meme.
Yes.
Like, oh, that's a young thing, but no.
Right, yeah, and I can understand that.
As an old, I need 4 litres of wine. I've got $10. I want to get out of my face because I couldn't be bothered. So I'm just going to go a fruity lecture or whatever. It's horrible stuff.
Yeah.
I know some fancy wines are sold in the box, but I couldn't.
I want to ask you, actually, do you guys have Arizona iced tea in Australia?
I have never heard of Arizona iced tea.
I just bought some tonight, actually.
When I think of iced tea, I think of a tea flavour somewhere in it mixed with sugar so you can't taste the tea.
Yeah. Oh, well.
For me, it needs to be bitter.
Well, Arizona iced tea, it's not always tea. It's mostly juice, to be honest with you. But I think some of it has tea in it. There's maybe like 3 out of the
Uh,
20 flavors that have tea. But it's good.
so
It's good. It's cheap, and it's always been like the go-to. So I was just wondering if you guys had it, because it's like a phenomenon here.
no, we actually, surprisingly enough, we don't really get too many American products here.
No,
We do.
yeah.
We do get some of the, like, because I'm a beer drinker, so we do get some craft beers from America, which I'm sorry to say aren't as good as our craft beers. But
I don't
anyway.
even like beer. I hate beer.
Yeah, and then we get like what are those Doritos in a roll with all the artificial flavors and colors on them? They're like blue. Oh God.
Doritos. You guys get Doritos?
Oh, like they're a corn chip, but they're rolled up into a cylinder.
Oh, Fritos?
Takis.
Takis. Oh, Takis. Yeah, Takis. I like Takis.
They suddenly became huge in Australia, and I remember
really?
we went to Melbourne on camp a few years ago with school kids, and they all wanted to buy them. And I looked at the packet, and it's like, and the biggest label on it was basically contains artificial colours and flavourings. It's like, why?
Oh, you guys have to
Why
put.
do you need?
You have to put labels
hell
like that on there.
Oh, you don't have the. You have to label
Everything
food.
would have that label if that was the case. Everything would have that label, like literally everything.
If I can buy organic, I buy organic. I don't care if it's got in it, like the bugs haven't been treated with pesticide.
Yeah.
I don't care. They're just protein. Get over it.
Yeah. So
we grow our here every now and then, and it's like, yeah, I don't care if there's a bug on it. It's just freaking nature.
Yeah, it's better for you too. It's a lot better for you. So we got our final question here, which is just any final thoughts you'd like to share, or if you have any questions for me today, Catmus. What are you thinking about that?
Here we go, tangent time. No,
Yeah.
No, actually, it's one question which I've thought about. I've wanted to ask when I comment on your socks with John.
Oh yes.
And sorry about the latest video with the comment, but that's me just with my humour about.
Oh no, I honestly thought, I was like, is he being serious? It's like, either way, I have made some videos where I show my feet, and people do enjoy that.
Oh, damn, I missed them. Oh, hang on, I'll just go get the lube out. No, sorry.
Yeah.
Joke.
No, that's fine.
What made you choose not only to do a YouTube? Well, I assume it was maybe from TikTok, but what made you choose to do socks? Why socks? I just thought it was an interesting thing to do. Why would you do socks?
Because I have so many of them, and I really enjoy socks. I'm showing right now on camera a basket full of clean socks right now. There's 115 pairs in here.
I saw it. Was that on one of your videos or your podcast where you showed that? Or one of your cooking with you? Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because for me, socks are just a utilitarian thing. I try and get black socks. They go with everything. I don't care.
Yep. I like black socks.
Old male toes, toenails, which look disgusting when you get older. Sorry, but in 20 years, mate, you might not be doing socks with John. You'll be doing podiatry.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I just thought it was an interesting choice. And the other thing is, that's the whole thing. But why did you choose to share that you have a love for socks?
So I wanted to make content, and I was like, I always wanted people to see my socks, and nobody really gave too much of a care. And it was always something like, I have all these socks, and I like socks, and I'm a sock connoisseur or whatever. But I always wanted people to see them. So I was like, I'm just going to start posting them online. I'm sure there's some type of atmosphere where people can enjoy them. And so far, I've been moderately successful. It's nothing crazy yet. I made a video today, and I have a combined follower count of over 3,000 across like 4 platforms, I guess. And I was like, that's cool. Yeah.
And you were about 490 something for YouTube?
469 or 70 now. 470 subscribers on YouTube as the time of recording this.
So, how many subscribers do you need in order to monetize on YouTube, or is Shorts different?
Well, actually, shorts is different, or shorts are different, but it is 1,000. I need 1,000 to make money on ads. I need at least 500 to have my own YouTube shop. But for the other qualification as well, you need to have a certain view count or watch hours. For shorts, it's a view count. For other videos, long form like this podcast, it would be, I think, 3,000 watch hours, of which I have like 200. Excuse me.
Oh,
And for the shorts, you're going to think this is crazy. To get monetized on ads for shorts, it is 10 million views in 90 days.
what?
Yes. So in 3 months.
Now I understand why content creators have said YouTube's a bit unhinged. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's pretty difficult, to be honest. Like the old Knight, he's got a pretty good subscriber count. If he started making shorts, I don't think he knows. I've been asking him to. He could actually make some good money just because he has like, almost 14,000 subscribers. So he makes money on ads. But if he started making YouTube shorts, which could be a minute long, it only needs to be a minute long to get monetized, he could be making some good money.
But the irony is, like, and I know you mentioned in your last Socks with John, is it's taken you a while to edit it. I reckon editing shorts would be even harder than a long form because you've got to make it so short and succinct.
Yeah.
That I reckon that would be quite a difficult task.
I've gotten pretty good at it. It doesn't take as long. Here's the thing with the long form videos, like this one right here. Oh, this is actually, it's fine. It's going to be about an hour and a half, this video. When I edit it, I have to rewatch the whole video just to make sure everything's good. So that means that I have to do it at minimum an hour and 50 minutes worth of editing. Versus if I do a short form content video, it might take me like 10 to 20 minutes to edit it. And then it'll be like a minute long.
Oh, wow, you got down pat, because I tell you what, I ain't re-watching this video even when you release it. I'm sorry, I cannot stand hearing my voice.
You're good.
Like that whole, is that what I sound like? Oh, I sound like an idiot.
No.
I hate that. I spent most of my high school career not talking in terms of playing music, and I could listen to myself play music. That was fine, like, playing the trombone and euphonium, that was fine. But to hear myself talk is cringe. Do I have that bad Aussie accent? Do I sound like that?
No, you sound great, man. It's all in your head. I got used to it after a while. I hear myself every single day when I make videos, and sometimes I'm like, oof, that's kind of cringe. But overall, it's just, a lot of people, it's about perception. It's about what you think people are going to think versus what they actually think or what they actually do.
I don't even like looking at myself when I'm brushing my hair in the morning. I don't even look at the mirror when I'm doing my teeth. Stuff that.
Yeah.
Well, my teeth stuffed. So here's a shout out to people. Brush your teeth, guys, when you're young, because you don't want to be like me and having to go through horrible things to fix your teeth. But
yeah, definitely brushing your teeth when you're young is a good idea.
But luckily in Australia we had fluoride, so it could have been worse. Whereas in America you can't have fluoride, can you?
No, we have fluoride in our water.
All right. So, that's what causes autism, of course. No.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. Now we can go off on tangents. Like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yes. So
I just think people who are in power should actually get good advice from proper professionals before they open their bloody mouths, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's all.
So we've gotten through all the questions pretty much. Some of them you kind of answered without me having to ask, which is totally fine. Any final thoughts for us today?
Pardon? Sorry, I didn't hear that because I was talking.
No, that's all right. Any final thoughts for us today, Catmus?
Gosh.
Brush your teeth, brush your hair, be kind to people.
Just be yourself and treat everyone. And I know it's the whole, because I'm not religious, but treat unto others as you would do to yourself.
Yes.
But seriously, just appreciate everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate people. Appreciate the fact that everyone has their own opinion, and don't fight about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Like, talk. Like, hell, our species, we have language. We can talk. You don't have to fight about it. You can argue about it. An argument's not a fight, but just talk about things.
Yeah.
You know, if you disagree, don't worry. It's just, you know, it's okay if someone doesn't believe what you're saying. It's okay if someone doesn't agree with something you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And also, sit back, smell the roses, and just enjoy what we've all got.
Right.
You know, like just be a better person. Seriously, just that's all I would say. Is just try and be nice, try to be helpful, and try to be loving. And it doesn't matter if it's loving with a wife, a husband, a child, a pet, your garden, the environment. It doesn't matter. Just be nice.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, Catmus, and I do appreciate that. I will try to take that advice more often as I, get older myself.
Yeah, be nice to yourself, John.
I will, and you too as well.
Yeah, I know, but we know we're horrible to ourselves.
Yeah,
actually, that's a funny.
But things will get better.
We're always harsher to ourselves than anyone else. It's such a hard cycle to break. Like, oh, it's so difficult. I haven't broken it. Don't worry about that. I'm always the worst.
It'll get better. Things will get better, Catmus. But that's just about all that I have for today. Yeah, those are pretty good final thoughts. I do appreciate that. As always, you got to remember that every episode is brought to you by Socks with John. Actually, right here, boom, Socks with John. Of course, every episode is sponsored by Socks with John. If you guys want your sponsored segment to be in this video, then this is the portion of the time, or sorry, this is the portion of the video that it would be in for any of our sponsors coming up. Coming back now. So thank you everybody for watching. I do appreciate it very, very much. Catmus, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate your time in this today. I think we said some really great stuff, and I was happy to get your perspective on the world and especially on the United States as well.
No worries. It's been an absolute honor, mate.
Well, thank you.
People can take what they want from it. I don't care. It was great to have a chat. Great to have a chat.
So thank you very much. Thank you everybody for watching and for tuning into the NWR podcast. As always, I'm your host, John, and we will see you next time. Adios, mis muchachos, and peace out.